Zootopia is the newest Walt Disney Animation Studios film to come out last year, and I'm sorry I'm a bit late on this review. There were so many reviews I wanted to get to that were new releases, but I wanted to try and get the Avatar stuff done before I review Fire and Ash, and wanted to review the first film before I review this one, so that you guys can get an understanding what I think of these movies as the overall story continues from the beginning to where we are now. So now that I know that, I'm probably going to be a lot more free reviewing a lot more solo films, like independent films on their own without any sequel, because so many sequels just came out recently that I want to catch up on. So yeah, here's my review for Zootopia 2. Brave Rabbit Judy Hopps and her friend the fox Nick Wilde team up again to crack a new case, the most perilous and intricate of their careers. From my understanding, the same directors from the first Zootopia, I think also did Encanto as well, are coming back to do this movie. And so far, in terms of more recent Disney projects, Zootopia and Encanto especially are among some of the better ones that Disney has put out in the past decade or so. Especially Encanto. That movie, especially as a Colombian myself, was really satisfying to watch. So seeing these directors come back to the director's chair gave me a bit of confidence for this sequel, because notoriously Disney's not that great with sequels. I thought the second Frozen was pretty entertaining and fine, and thought it was a little better than the first, but I think other than that, Walt Disney Animation Studios has not had a good track record of doing sequels. Not to mention the straight to DVD sequels that they did in the 90s and early 2000s. That was a time to be alive for. But yeah, Disney, in terms of making sequels from their direct studio, just not really an ideal thing that has been well liked in the company. So I still went to the film with that expectation in mind that it might suck. Came out surprised that this was a legitimately good movie. I was honestly shocked as to how much I was actually going to enjoy this Walt Disney Animation Studio sequel. I thought the characters were still engaging. In fact, I think Nick Wilde and Judy Hopps' characters here, and the mystery they're now trying to uncover, are these characters and what they're going through is so much more interesting than what it was in the first film. I think I now see the first film as more of a test run for their characters and what their interaction will be like, and this film just makes their relationship and what they feel about each other concrete. Their humor, the way they express how they feel about this mystery with one another, how passionate they are in the case, and how much they care for each other as friends. The overall relationship between Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde here is so much more engaging than the first. It feels a lot more personal. Also, the themes of class and racism here, in my opinion, were done a lot better. I felt like in terms of the racism part, it is a lot more digestible, but also a lot more tasteful than it was in the first film, where in the first film, a lot of the racism allegories just felt very hollow, and it wasn't well written in the story in terms of trying to have it be predator versus prey. It just felt really awkward in that scenario. But here, I'm not going to spoil how they do it, but in terms of how it relates to the villain and what they try to do with another group of animals, and how that hate is inflicted throughout the course of decades, centuries, and generations, I think it was a lot more engaging to watch, and the themes of class and racism were a lot better presented here than it was in the first film. In fact, I think this movie took some elements of the first film and expanded upon them in very interesting ways that make our characters grow exponentially from the beginning to the end of this movie. And how the movie concludes with all these characters and what they learned throughout the course of the film, I think was very fun. I also thought the humor was done a lot better. There were parts of the film that were very action-packed that I thought were really engaging. The mystery was really cool. Overall, there are a lot of stuff here that were just as good as they were in the first film. The themes and allegory of racism I thought were done a lot better and made the story feel a lot more engaging to watch instead of being a little bit awkward. The animation is still top notch. The overall world of Zootopia and how we explore what's outside of that city, it was really fun to see. Overall, if I do have to have any problems, it has to be with a new character, the snake character that was introduced to the movie. I thought he would play a bigger role. Not that his role was bad, and whenever he was on screen in the later half of the film, he was fun to watch, but it felt like he was a bit underutilized in the first half, considering that the film is based upon his character specifically, and he is probably the most important one in the entire story. Just felt like we could use a little bit more of him and explore more of his character and digest him as an individual, but also explore his relationship with Judy Hopps a lot more. Build that friendship that he talks about between them a lot better, because I didn't really buy that they cared for each other by the end of the film. Not truly. I know that he likes her, but not much other than that. I did not get a deeper connection with these characters that the film wanted me to believe. Overall, Zootopia 2, in my opinion, was a lot better than the original. It was a lot more engaging, it's a lot more exciting, the themes are a lot better presented here, and they were a lot more subtle about it, and it felt more satisfying. It was a bit funnier at times than the first. Overall, this is a sequel that, in my opinion, actually surpassed the original film. I'm very happy to say that Walt Disney Animation Studios actually made a good sequel. And not just a good sequel, but in my opinion, a great sequel. I'm going to give Zootopia 2 an A-. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.